Welcome to Counterculture Wise, a Stormcap production. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts, our guests, and the dog, and do not necessarily reflect the views of any of our platforms, our advertisers, or any other dog.
As you listen today, please remember, we are so much more than a podcast. All of our stories we discuss are linked in our show notes on counterculturewise.com. Visit there for commentary, guest photos and links, animations, and fun merchandise.
If you have a story idea or would like to be a guest on our show, contact us via our website. You can also follow us on Twitter, Gab, Instagram, Facebook, and all over social media, where we'll post memes, cat pics, and commentary that gets us booted off on a regular basis.
If you're listening live, be sure to join our chat on Spreaker. If you're listening dead, please stop voting Democrat, but enjoy the show anyway. And with the meows of the Macamow, who is sitting in here with us tonight, we start another Counterculture Wise. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody. Sorry we're not live again, but that would require internet, which we just don't have.
We
Thank
hope to have
Viasat.
that remedied very soon.
Ooh,
you're calling them out by name.
I'm calling them out by name. These guys get worse ratings than Spirit Airlines.
As we like to say, paraphrase, not a sponsor and we won't have them.
No, we wouldn't have them. No.
In a minute or an hour or 57 years.
But I did win a little spat with them, so we're not going to have to pay all those fees to be rid of them like a lot of other people have had to. So they lock you into...
She did the smart thing. She talked to the Better Business Bureau.
Don't mess with the ginger.
No, don't mess with an angry ginger.
Especially when you're going to offer that bad of a service, reliably bad. And like I said, they get the worst review. So we're working. We got something in the works. We're trying something. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks, we'll be back live and we'll be doing some more interviews and all kinds of fun things. So the year is off to a little bit of a rocky start, but we'll get there.
But hey, it was my birthday, so it wasn't bad.
Well, I mean, let me introduce you so people will know whose birthday it
was.
Oh,
okay, sure.
You're yappity boy over there before I even get to introduce you. Well, hello,
Introduce
everybody.
myself right on.
Hello, everybody. We joke about having only one audience, so hi, Dave. Welcome to Counterculture Wise, out here in the woods, in the middle of no dang where, deep in a hearta.
Texas.
Up on a hilla.
Texas.
Out where there's no service
in
of
Texas.
any sort. We got no internet. We got no garbage. We got no cell phones. We have no idea what we're going to do with ourselves. But by God, we have electricity and running water, and as long as we have those things, we will have a show. I am your hostess with the mostest, Ms. Melanie Hope, and here with me is, well, he's kind of cute, actually. He's handsome. He's charming. He's witty. He's got a nice voice, and he's also my husband and my co-host and my sweet baboo, Mr. James Monis.
You know, up until she said husband, I was sure she was talking about Max.
So was Max.
Yeah. I'm so disappointed, dear mother.
Oh, now you get the place right next to
Oh,
Mommy.
by the way, while you were gone the other day, the weirdest thing happened. A Jehovah's Witness came to the door, and I said, "Hey, come on in." He said, "All right." And I said, "Would you like some tea?" He said, "Yeah, I think that'd be all right." And then I offered him some cookies, and then I sat down and said, "So what would you like to talk about?" And he said, "I don't know. Nobody's ever let me go this far before." Hi, folks. I'm James Monis.
Is that your dad joke?
That was my dad joke.
Well, folks, before we head on into the show, whatever you're doing right now, stop everything.
Ouch.
And hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Let everybody have
Tell
it.
total strangers. Walk up to them and say, counterculturewise.com. You don't say hello. Don't say goodbye. Just say counterculturewise.com.
And then sing Alice's Restaurant, walk out, and find out what happens. Yes.
Yes. Oh, folks, we wanted to do a report on what everybody already knew was going to happen in Iowa.
We didn't have to. Chuck's got it.
Okay.
I mean, it was pretty clear what we knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
I really wish Vivek would have done better. I think he did the right thing.
Yeah.
And
I admire him because he's
I
a
do
straight
too.
shooter, honest
Yeah.
and intelligent.
I do feel like he's one of the few that actually was telling the truth. I'm a little miffed at the Orange Man for a few things, but he's the best we got right now. He's the only chance we've got right now. So that's,
And you know, the sickening thing maybe for you is that I'm still not sure I'm voting for him.
well, who would you vote for?
I'm considering Bobby Kennedy. I'm also considering write-in. Or I'm also considering third party, which is what I've done 90% of my adult life. So
You can't give it to Biden. You can't. I mean, he's
no,
a vegetable.
I'm tired of the argument of if you vote for somebody who actually reflects your values, you're throwing your vote away.
Well, that's the problem. I'm politically homeless. There literally is no candidate that reflects all of my values.
Well, no candidate's going to reflect every single one of your values unless it's you.
And even then,
Even then.
not so much.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about Martin Luther King Day and
course.
his legacy and how the FBI tried to honor him with a tweet that got an epic community note. The FBI, first of all, why is the FBI on social media at all? Seriously.
If I were the modern version of J. Edgar Hoover, there would be no such thing as the FBI on social media. They're spooks. They're not supposed to be spilling their guts on social media.
I don't want you wishing me a happy anything day. I don't want you telling me what you're up to. I don't want you lying to me like is kind of your gig. Why are they on Twitter? Why are they on Facebook? It's creepy.
Here's the thing. They're saying, well, let's celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. For those of you who don't know what happened back in the 60s, these guys did everything they could. And no, I mean everything.
Including writing a letter asking him to off himself.
Yeah.
Which
was published
folks were kind enough to publish.
These
Just
guys.
wow.
Yeah. And members of the King family actually believe that the FBI caused his death.
Oh, I have no doubts.
So,
and that's the thing that we're looking at right now. They got King, they got Kennedy, they're going to get Trump. They just are.
I don't know. I hope not. Just because I think the guy
they've been fully weaponized. We have political prisoners right now, and then we have guys like Ray Epps that basically gets a slap on the pinky and walks free. Yeah. Dude is on video inciting.
Well, nobody
everybody
took him
there
seriously though. Everybody fed, and he is, but.
Yeah, he is, but could you make it just slightly less obvious? And then he goes on all the talk shows, and we're supposed to feel sorry for him?
No, I don't. He made his choices.
This was a total setup. It was a total setup.
He made his choices. So we wanted to talk a little bit more about Martin Luther King, and I found this most interesting article. And I am not, by reading this article, suggesting in any way, shape, or form that Dr. King was a Republican or a conservative. He wasn't anything of the sort. He, in fact, did not align himself with either major party because he thought that both sides were keeping his people down. And at the time, I would say that was probably the case. But this is an article, and this is actually an older article. It's from quite a few years ago.
Wow, 2006, yeah.
Yeah. It's from the Heritage Foundation, and I'm just going to read a part of this because it's a pretty long article, but
It says it's only a 7-minute read.
Well, yeah, if I read it like a munchkin, sure.
We represent.
Anyway, this is written by Carolyn Garris for the Heritage Foundation, which is a libertarian conservative think tank. So let's give this a listen. It's time for conservatives to lay claim to the legacy of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. King was no stalwart conservative, yet his core beliefs such as the power and necessity of faith-based association and self-government based on absolute truth and moral law, are profoundly conservative.
Yes.
Modern liberalism rejects these ideas, while conservatives place them at the center of their philosophy. Well, I'm going to add something on paper. Anyway,
Well, there's that.
despite decades of its appropriation by liberals, King's message was fundamentally conservative. And by the way, this doesn't necessarily reflect my beliefs. I just think it's a very interesting point of view. The Montgomery bus boycott, triggered by Rosa Parks' refusal to abide by local segregation laws — by the way, she's a hero of mine too — sparked King's rise from ministering a small church in Montgomery to national renown. King's primary aim was not to change laws, but to change people, to make neighbors of enemies and a nation out of divided races.
So he actually wanted to unite people, not call himself the great uniter and call more than half the population of, well,
idiots.
He's going
Yeah.
worse than basket of deplorables. He's calling us radical. He's un-American. What are some of the other words he's using?
Oh, it doesn't matter. He
He's
doesn't
just-
even know what he's mouthing words people
That's
write
true.
for him. Anyway, from a jail cell in Birmingham, Alabama, to the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, his message inspired the nation, and his message and achievements inspire us today. Dr. King believed in the principles of the American founding. He maintained we will reach the goal of freedom in Birmingham and all over the nation because the goal of America is freedom.
Amen.
Throughout American history, racism has posed a peculiar obstacle to the achievement of that goal. However, Dr. King believed that the founders had set the nation on the right course. He did not reject the principles of our nation because contradictions existed. Instead, he hoped that racial groups would put aside their differences and acknowledge the principles that unite all Americans. Today, it is conservatives who seek to unite a nation divided by cultural diversity. Conservatives defend and celebrate the characteristics that we share as Americans. As America drifts from the ideas and ideals of the founders, conservatives stand with King as believers that the principles of the American founding are as relevant today as in 1776. Dr. King believed in a fixed moral law. He was a Christian, after all. That's my little note. An anathema to moral relativists espousing subjective values. For King, a just law was a man-made code that squares with the moral law or the law of God. Dr. King required that his followers lead moral lives, and he emphasized the importance of faith in the face of adversity.
So are all those things they said about him true, as far as him not exactly being the most moral person?
Supposedly, I don't have any evidence that he philandered. I honestly don't know, but I do know that the FBI supposedly came up with, quote, evidence, end quote, that he had cheated. And
Not
so
strong enough for him to step down. They had to off him.
Yeah, I know. Boom, 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 boom. Modern liberalism has rebuffed his teaching, dedicating great effort to silence religion morality. Again, conservatives are the standard bearers here. I'm just going to read a little bit more. For Dr. King, individual freedom depended on civic responsibility. He proclaimed, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." I still will tear up when I read that.
We could run batteries off of how much his body is spinning right now based on
Yeah.
what they're doing in his name.
That's true. Racial judgment is inherently unjust, but judgment based on moral character is essential.
Yes.
King wanted his children to live in a colorblind society, but not a value-neutral society that rejects all standards of judgment. Today, this is the conservative message. Now, today was 2006.
It still holds true, though.
I'm not talking about the neocon nonsense that happened
only
with,
now we're
with,
called Nazis for that. We're literally called Nazis because
Yeah.
we're like, I don't give a flying crap where you stick it or what color your skin is. What kind of person are you?
Yeah. Racial judgments. King wanted his children to live in a colorblind society, but not a value-neutral society that rejects all standards of judgment. Today, this is the conservative message. Moral character, as expressed in our social interactions, is at the center of self-government, which in turn is the sustaining force of American democracy. Conservatives know that without a morally informed sense of social obligation, we would be rudderless.
And see, we haven't changed. It's like we're standing in the same place we were, and the left has just gone off a cliff.
Yeah. So, and this is a fantastic article.
We will have the link on counterculturewise.com, where you can go and support us in many different ways. Help us to get Starlink. Not a sponsor, but we'll take them.
And I promise you that once we get Starlink, if it works, I will ask Elon Musk to be on our show.
Okay. That would be awesome.
We'd actually get more than a few listeners, I think.
Well, at least we'd have maybe 2 more audience.
Yeah. For those of you who, by the way, have continued to stick with us and tune in every now and then or tune in, we joke about having just a couple of audience, but we do have a pretty decent following. A lot of my friends and our relatives have been listening in. They don't tell me all the time that they're listening in. They could be listening in right now, for all I know.
That'd be weird considering we're pre-recording. But
okay.
I
know, but you know what I mean.
No, we have all of our... I get
my
to
mom
see,
and my dad both called me today.
I know, that's so sweet.
Yeah,
Wish you happy birthday like a week later.
I'm not... Come on now. I'm blessed that I have good parents, and my stepdad called me up and in his unique fashion sang me happy birthday.
Yeah, I want to hear that recording.
Yeah, I'll play it for you after the show. And my mom called in. For any of you who are praying people, my mom is going in for knee surgery this Friday. Please pray for her. She's nervous. I don't think she needs to be, but she's been through a lot. I won't go into it because it's personal and private. But she's been treated not very well by a few people, and by one person in particular, and it's unfortunate, but I forgive this person. I just hope that they find peace and maybe come to their senses. That's all I'm going to say about it.
No, they're too selfish.
It is what it is.
Anyway,
yeah.
Prayers that she makes it through the surgery and heals quickly and is chipper back to her old self, because she used to be just such a happy, sweet, productive person, and it's really, really hard to see her down like this.
Well, I don't want her to spend her golden years being non-golden, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's, the sun is going down, and she's just if you'd pray for her peace of mind, people, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Am I getting emotional again?
Well, it's your mommy.
That's my mommy. I'm a man. I don't have a mommy.
I get emotional. I like your mommy.
I like my mommy too. I mean, my mom too.
And I'm the only girl that she's ever liked that you've been with, so.
That's true. Sorry, Lauren.
She's the one who told me that. I have it on very high authority. Because she told me.
Sorry, all the rest of you.
To all the girls I've loved before, my
mama wanted to
shoved you
shut
out
out
the door. And DMC8. Okay, so anything else you want to say about the good Reverend? Did you want to read the letter that the FBI wrote him?
Oh yeah, let's do that. I'm going to find this.
This is
vile. Evil. This is just downright vile. Let's see. Here it is. I will have it in just a moment, but while it's coming up, please visit
I'm going to read the FBI.
Yeah, you read the
this
FBI.
This MLK Day, the hashtag FBI, honors one of the most prominent leaders of the civil rights movement and reaffirms its commitment to Dr. King's legacy of fairness and equal justice for all. Readers added context that they thought people might want to know. The FBI engaged in surveillance of King, attempted to discredit him, and used manipulation tactics to influence him to stop organizing. King's family believed the FBI was responsible for his death.
Here we go.
Of course, there's several links.
Here's the letter, and okay, should be coming up.
And the memes, the memes are so juicy.
Oh, the memes are as juicy can be. I'm not even showing.
Just because we killed MLK doesn't mean we can't miss him. Oh my, the memes are just, oh my.
Oh, the letter isn't so obvious anymore.
Oh, that hurt.
Something fell out of your pocket. I think this is it, right?
I
Here
got
we
it
go.
right here.
All right. I got
Something
it.
fell out of your pocket. This is from Dave Benner. He posted, it looks like an original scan of it.
Yeah, it does look like a scan. Definitely typewritten. Here we go. King. In view of your low-grade abnormal personal behavior, I will not dignify your name with either a Mr. or a Reverend or a Doctor.
I'd like to know who this I is.
It's I don't. You can look it up while I'm reading it, but his name is. Everybody knows who it is, I guess.
Okay.
In view of your low-grade abnormal personal behavior, I will not dignify your name with either a doctor or a reverend or or Mister. And your last name calls to mind only the type of king such as King Henry VIII and his countless acts of adultery and immoral conduct lower than that of a beast. King, look into your heart. You know you are a complete fraud and a great liability to all of us Negroes. I have a sneaking suspicion. That the person who wrote this was not black. But anyway, maybe he was. I don't know.
Why would he say, okay.
Just to...
So this is November 21st, 1964.
Yeah.
A package that contained the letter and a tape recording allegedly of King's Bodiododo was delivered to his address. Although the letter was anonymously written, Martin Luther King Jr. correctly suspected the FBI sent the package. Coretta Scott King said the tapes comprised only mumbo jumbo. The letter does not specify precisely what action it is urging King to undertake, but it's pretty darn obvious.
Pretty darned obvious. Anyway, the name of the man is somewhere around this article. But anyway, you know you are a complete fraud and a great liability to all of us Negroes. White people in this country have enough frauds of their own, but I am sure they don't have one at this time that is anywhere near your equal. You are no clergyman and you know it. I repeat, you are a colossal fraud and an evil, vicious one at that.
Okay, in 1975. Okay, on March 8th, 1971. I'll interrupt you as I learn more. An activist group called the Citizens Commission to investigate the FBI burglarized the local office in Pennsylvania and stole the classified documents. They were sent to newspapers and Congress. During the church committee hearings and investigations in 1975, a copy of the Harm to Yourself letter was discovered in the work files of William C. Sullivan, Deputy FBI Director. He has been suggested as the author.
Yeah. So that was the name I was trying to think of, but thank you, Melanie. Okay, you are no clergyman and you know it. I repeat, you are a colossal fraud and an evil, vicious one at that. You cannot believe in God and act as you do. Clearly, you don't believe in any personal moral principles. King, like all frauds, your end is approaching. You could have been our greatest leader. You, even at an early age, have turned out to be not a leader, but a dissolute, abnormal, moral imbecile.
And by the way, Sullivan was indeed very pale.
I figured as much. Not because of the tone of the letter or the wording or whatever, just because black people, there weren't a whole lot of them in the FBI back in the day.
He was actually ousted in 1971 due to disagreements with FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. So he wrote this letter.
Yeah. Anyway, we will now have to depend on our older leaders like Wilkins, a man of character, and thank God we have others like him. But you are done. Your honorary degrees, your Nobel Prize, what a grim farce, and other awards will not serve you. King, I repeat, you are done. No person can overcome facts, not even a fraud like yourself. Lend your sexually psychotic ear to the enclosure. You will find yourself and in all your dirt, filth, evil, and moronic talk exposed on the record for all time. I repeat, no person can argue successfully against facts. You are finished. You will find on the record for all time your filthy, dirty, evil companions, male and females, giving expression with you to your hideous abnormalities, and some of them to pretend to be ministers of the gospel. Satan could not do more. What incredible evilness. That Satan could not do more through you, Billy boy. It is all there on the record, your sexual orgies. Listen to yourself, you filthy, abnormal animal. You are on the record. You have been on the record. All your adulterous acts, your sexual orgies, extending far into the past.
He just
This
doesn't
one-
look like an orgy type of guy.
No, he's not an orgy dude. Yes, from your various evil playmates on the East Coast to blank blank, and others on the West Coast and outside the country, you are on the record. King, you are done. The American public, the church organizations that have been helping, Protestant, Catholic, and Jews will know you for what you are, an evil, abnormal beast. So will others who have backed you. You are done. King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do. This exact number has been selected for a specific reason. It has definite practical significance. You are done. There is but one way out for you. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is bared to the nation. And so on, and so on, and so on.
Wow, this Sullivan character was a piece of work.
Yeah. See, this is what he had to contend with. And that was just one person and one agency. I am convinced that the FBI, they're the ones who instigated his death. I do believe that now. All because he wanted to upset the fabric of our nation, and in a good way. But to people like that, any upset to the white is right. I don't know how else to put it. Any
Do
kind
you
of
think this
undoing of so-called
was
moral
purely
fabric.
racial? Do you think it was?
I think it was. I also think that there are political strains of people who believe in Jesus. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this. Conservative Christians believe what they do. You know, it's more of a sense of moralism and keeping morals, traditional morals. Liberal Christians operate from a place of social justice because Jesus wants us to feed the poor and Jesus wants us to take care of the less fortunate. That's all in the Bible.
Right.
Now, I'm not going
But
to.
Jesus doesn't want the government to come in and
No,
force us to do it.
that's the thing. But I don't want to go. I don't want to go there. I'm just saying there are people of goodwill on both sides of the political fence who, they
Are you
believe
saying
the
there's
same
very
thing.
fine people on both sides? Because that could get you in trouble.
There are fine people on both sides. Yeah, I said it. Anyway, but yeah, that's.
Now go drink your bleach like a good kid.
Now go take your bleach and guzzle a gallon of that microsectin
Get your
stuff.
97th booster, yeah.
Yeah, get your booster. All right. So yeah,
We joke because we love.
we love all peace and love, peace and love.
So this is supposed to all be released in 2027.
7, yes. That is a year I'm actually looking forward to because I really do want to find out all about this.
Well, didn't they tell us they were going to let us know what happened with JFK, and they just kind of half-assed it?
The thing is, the more they hem and haw and don't reveal the paperwork, the more we're going to just think it was the CIA who killed him and all of that. It's not...
And they're like, oh, look, aliens! Yeah. It's like, I ain't buying the alien nonsense either.
Here's another bit of information that is interesting. Now, this is from quite a while ago. And it doesn't have completely to do with MLK's dream, but this is something that his widow, Coretta Scott King, a woman who I admired greatly and still do, Coretta Scott King once helped successfully quash legislation from Republicans and Democrats in the early 1990s that would have eliminated fines for United States employers hiring illegal aliens over Americans. In 1991, former Senator and Eternal Rhino Orrin Hatch of Utah led an effort in Congress to pass legislation that would have thrown out the ability of the federal government to fine American employees for hiring illegal aliens, the leading magnet for illegal immigration to the nation for decades. Former Senator John McCain big surprise. Ted Kennedy, no surprise. Arlen Specter, no surprise. And Jeff Bingaman, who's he, were co-sponsors of Hatch's legislation, while in the House, Representative Nancy Pelosi, big surprise, and then Reps Barbara Boxer and John Lewis, and these were all Democrats and Republicans. You know, they're all the same bunch.
I'm watching a Vivek kind of crash a Trump rally, and our racist, evil orange man is like giving him a hug, slapping him on the back, telling him thank you, and people are chanting VP, VP, VP.
I have a strong suspicion he's going to be the vice president.
God, he would be good.
He would be good.
He would be good.
I mean, he's not the only good choice, but I think he would do a good job.
You don't get somebody, and I think Trump knows this. Vivek is, in a lot of ways, stronger than he is.
Well,
But they couldn't turn around and say, "Oh, he has no political experience." Dude, that's why we like him. Okay,
yeah,
Biden has been sucking at the public teat.
That's the reason so many people voted for Trump, was because he wasn't a career politician. And by the way, Vivek is intelligent. He's a straight talker. I think that Trump appreciates that. And so I think there's a good possibility.
I didn't realize he was so tall. You know, he's about the same height as Trump, and Trump is what, 6'3"?
He's big, but I don't have any idea.
I had no idea that Vivek was
Anyhow,
that
moving
tall.
on to what I was talking about.
I'm on the twatters. I'm sorry, X.
We're among the co-sponsors of an identical bill from former Rep. Edward Roybal. When Scott King got wind of Hatch's legislation, she authored a letter with other civil rights leaders detailing how illegal immigration diminishes wages, living standards, quality of life, and employment opportunities for America's working class, and specifically Black Americans, who are most likely to compete against illegal aliens for jobs. Mm-hmm. Hello!
Just like in all those factories.
So this is a racist thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
We are concerned, Senator Hatch, that your proposal elimination of employer sanctions will cause another problem. The revival of pre-1986 discrimination against Black and brown U.S. and documented workers in favor of cheap labor, the undocumented workers, Scott King wrote in 1991. This would undoubtedly exacerbate an already severe economic crisis in communities where there are large numbers of new immigrants, Scott King continued. According to Scott King, fining U.S. employers for hiring illegal aliens over Americans is a necessary means of stopping the exploitation of vulnerable workers and the undercutting of American jobs and living standards. Those who signed the letter with Scott King included William Lucy of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, Norman Hill with the A. Philip Randolph Institute, and Dr. Ramona Edelin of the National Urban Coalition, among others. Thanks in part to Scott King's opposition, Hatch's bill failed in the House and Senate.
All right.
So
his family is...
His family, they're true Americans.
They're holding up his legacy.
They're holding up his legacy. So that's all I want to say. I admire the hell out of Dr. Martin Luther King. He's been one of my heroes since I was a young kid. And my political journey hasn't changed my view of him one bit. I still think he's still one of my heroes.
So right now on X, Butcher Biden is trending. Has a little bit to do
Butcher
with
is in sending people to die in the Middle East and stuff, or Butcher Biden.
I love what this lady
we
posted.
want him to get butchered. I mean,
I love what this lady posted. I think E. Jean Carroll is as credible as Jussie Smollett. Nikki Haley will never be president. Texas Roadhouse has the best rolls in honey cinnamon butter. Agreed. Chris Murray should lay off the Adderall. Probably. Butcher Biden gives new meaning to Dark Brandon. In 294 days, I will be voting for Donald Trump. It's Michelle Witzel. Yeah, it's apparently, I'll have to put up links for it on our website, but this is actually happening at the memes are wonderful too. I guess it's the Ireland. Who is she? She's at the EU. She's from Ireland. I haven't heard the actual speech, but I've been watching it with subtitles on, but basically she's used the terms butcher Biden and genocidal Germany. Ouch. Wow. Quote, take note, butcher Biden, the ancestors of the Ireland that you claim to be from disown you, myself included. Keep our country out of your mouth. Oh, bitch slap.
That was beautiful over there.
Okay, so my favorite meme of the day, it's a visual, but it's great. It's Trump with a mullet. Mm-hmm. It says MAGA in the front, ultra MAGA in the back. And sadly, it actually looks good on the MAGA mullet.
Kind of had sort of a mullety hairdo
the
back
MAGA
in the
mullet.
day.
Yeah, you gotta love it. So I'm gonna have to listen to this lovely lady's Claire Daly. She's an MEP at wow, Butcher Biden and Frau Genocide. Epic. She's like super duper trending, so we'll have to talk about that later. Okay. Well, wow, we've rounded our first half an hour.
And you were so worried.
I was so worried.
You're so worried we're going to run out of things to talk about.
I mean, it's a little bit after the fact now that, the whole Iowa caucus is over, but I just want to mention really quickly that DeSantis did not accept the trophy he was offered in Iowa. He got a participation trophy.
By a couple of smart Alex.
We're proud of you for trying, but he chose not to accept that. And then, of course, Haley supporters were basically saying, well, whoever the GOP nominee is, if it's not her, we're going to vote Democrat. Like that was a surprise. Since there is no Democrat primary.
I don't want Nikki Rhino in office. She's
not even a rhino. She doesn't even hide what she is.
She's just the swamp creature. And all my dear friends, and I love you all dearly, who actually think Trump would be so silly as to have her as a running mate.
No, she'd be awful.
First of all, they don't like each other. Second of all,
I'd like to see Huckleberry.
Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
I think Huckabee Sanders is fantastic. What's her name from Arizona?
Yeah, Carrie Lake.
Yeah, I'd love to see her.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, even.
I'd love to see Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's amazing.
But I think Vivek would be an excellent choice. And it's sad. It would take an absolute miracle or a major act of fraud beyond which the 2020 election would look like just, an accident for Biden to become president. At this point, this juncture,
that's what it took last time.
I know. But what I'm saying is, at this juncture, his ratings are so low. Even his Democrat, even hardcore Democrats who voted for him are regretting it because he's been such a dope. He's
been a dope since 1972.
Yeah, but he wasn't a dope with his hand on the football either. There's a big difference. You can be a dope and be in the Senate. Lord knows half of them are. And I'm not just talking the Democrats. There's Republicans who are equally stupid. But, and then you have guys like Fetterman who, seems to be snapping out of whatever was...
Well, yeah, I mean, he ran as a Democrat because he had brain damage, but now that he's healing, he's starting to make more sense. But his wife don't like it. Ooh, doggy.
Well, I don't. His wife isn't in office, so there.
Well, his wife was very much a Jill Biden. She got her prestige and her power because of her husband, and she was going to use him, no matter what it took. She's a disgusting, poor example of a human being. There's just something about her that makes me feel ooky just even looking at her. Anyways, I still feel sorry for the guy. I still think it's abuse, but now that he seems to be, coming out of it, maybe healing a little bit, which I know is possible after a stroke. I mean, I have a dear friend who
I have friends who've come back from it and like no difference at all anymore.
But basically, you have to be in the middle of a brain aneurysm or a stroke or some kind of TDI for you to be a Democrat, and then when you start healing and your brain starts firing, you're like, hold on a second.
Well, I don't want to paint with a very wide brush because there are conservative Democrats, there are, non-socialist types, and it's more nuanced than that. But at the same time, we are talking about the vast majority, at least the vocal majority. They're the ones who have me questioning their sanity. Hi, I'm Grayson, and I'm Zhizai Zhu. Those guys. I identify as
Just no.
I identify as a used tampon. Yeah, whatever.
You.
Just whatever, guy,
You know,
gal, person.
if it isn't Vivek, another person, and I know this is like way out there and people talked about it before, but I'd like to see Tulsi back in the public eye. I really like her. I mean, I don't agree
like
with
Tulsi a lot.
I don't agree with everything she says, but it would be nice to have that balance. I wish we could go back to the way it was in the beginning, where the guy or the person who won was the president and the runner-up was the vice.
It would be a beautiful thing,
Could you
but it'll never
imagine
happen.
Trump and Hillary having to run the nation together? That would have been brilliant. God, that would have been like.
I think that would actually
get your Wheaties
encourage.
out and sit in front of the television, crisscross applesauce, and turn that on instead of cartoons entertainment. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I think we've become too polarized for that to ever take place. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
When the so-called president of your country basically calls you a terrorist and tells you that he's going to, put you in camps and persecute you, and literally throws your fellow citizens in prison for political gain, yeah, there is no coming back from that. Yeah. There's no coming back from that. Anyway, we're almost to the end of the first hour, so how about we get into some Weird and Wonderful? What do you say?
Let's do Weird and Wonderful. By the way, we have a new Poetry Corner coming up.
We do.
And we have Chuck.
Yep.
So
we got all the things.
We'll do all of those things.
All of those things.
So let's go ahead and do Weird and Wonderful.
Let's do it.
Counterculture Wise is proud to present News of the Weird and Wonderful. Here are your hosts, Melanie Hope and Jim Monis.
All righty. Oftentimes my favorite part of the show. Except for all the others. I think we've developed quite a decent lineup of departments. If anybody has any...
you mean segments?
Segments.
Yeah, we're not a store. Although we do have merchandise. Yeah. New stuff coming out soon.
So, yeah, this is one of my favorite segments of the show. So here we go. This is interesting. The Victorian dress in the Maine Antique Mall, Maine, the state of Maine, was unlike anything Sarah Rivers Cofield had ever seen. Its fitted bodice, puffy bustle, and lace cuffs reflected a bygone era.
I don't know, but there's just something sexy about you saying puffy bustle.
Puffy bustle, yo. Anyway,
Come here,
its
let me
fitted
pat
bodice,
you on your puffy bustle.
puffy bustle, and lace cuffs reflected a bygone era. As a vintage costume collector, Rivers Caulfield recognized it as a dress from the 1880s, but despite its age, its delicate embroidery, bronze silk, and metallic buttons appeared intact. She haggled the price down from $100 from $125 as she wondered where she'd store the two-piece garment. The price was higher than she usually pays as an archaeologist who collects antique costumes and purses for fun. But it was the holiday season, so she splurged. Rivers Cofield had no idea that the dress she bought in December 2013 would unravel a mystery a decade later. Inside a secret pocket tucked under the bustle were two crumpled sheets of paper with lists of seemingly random words and places. Bismarck, omit, leafage, buck, bank, Calgary, Cuba, unguard, confute, duck, Fagin.
That sounds weird. Highly sus.
Notes on the margin of the papers appeared to depict time. A tag stitched into the dress had a handwritten name, Bennett. Rivers Cofield was baffled, she told CNN. The words were cryptic. What did they mean, and why did Bennett need a super-secret hidey hole in Rivers Cofield's words, to stash them. The buttons alone portrayed a forlorn Ophelia from Shakespeare's Hamlet, yay, a literary term I can understand, and were worth more than she'd pay for the dress, she said. In February of 2014, she posted a blog about the dress, which she'd nicknamed Bennett's Bronze Bustle. What the question mark, she wrote. I'm putting it up here in case there's some decoding prodigy out there looking for a project. She included photos of the dress and the papers. Rivers Cofield, an archaeological curator who lives in Chesapeake Beach, Maryland, had bought the dress while visiting her mother in Searsport, Maine.
It is beautiful.
It is gorgeous and remarkably good shape for its age.
Yeah.
Just really fantastic. She bought the dress while visiting her mother in Seaport, Maine. She didn't think much about it after the blog post.
She got it for a scream, though.
Yeah, that's
like nothing.
Right. But unbeknownst to her, curious amateur sleuths were working to solve the mystery. They dubbed it the silk dress cryptogram and floated conspiracy theories about the words. Some speculated that Bennett was a spy using coded words to communicate. In 2017...
Yeah, why would you tuck it in your bustle like that? That seems weird. And I didn't know bustles had pockets.
I didn't either. Never really thought about it before. Anyway, one blogger added the note to his list of the top 50 unsolved encrypted messages and floated more theories. Was it a cryptic love note? Dress measurements? Civil War codes? Rivers Cofield quickly dismissed any interpretation linked to the Civil War. She has studied 1880s catalogs from department store chain Bloomingdale's and had no doubt the dress was from that area. By then, the war had been over for about 20 years. Others speculated it was a form of communication related to the telegraph, a new way of sending quick notes launched in the United States in the 1800s, which charged senders a fee based on the number of words in a message. I had kind of abandoned the blog at that point, Rivers Cofield said. Every once in a while, I would see that a comment was posted or that some other code breaker would email me and be like, hey, I'm still interested in this, but nobody ever solved it. But then a Canadian researcher cracked the code.
A Canadian?
Wayne Chan.
For something besides geese and singers.
Hey, Wayne Chan, a researcher at the
Socialism and
University.
blackface.
All right. Wayne Chan, a researcher at the University of Manitoba in Canada, stumbled across the code online in summer 2018. He told CNN he looked at 170 code books and none of them matched the message. I worked on it for a few months but didn't get anywhere with it. I set it aside and didn't look at it again, Chan said. Chan, who solves codes as a hobby, then began researching the telegraph era, including the weather codes used in North America at that time. And early last year, he had a breakthrough. He discovered the coded message were, in fact, a weather report.
Oh.
And they were not encrypted for secrecy, but because the code allowed forecasters to shorten detailed weather reports into a few words, Chan said.
So not that exciting, after all.
No, it's pretty exciting that somebody figured it out. In the era of the telegraph, such shorthand was cheaper than sending a big batch of words and temperature readings. Each word represented meteorological variables such as temperature, wind speed, and barometric pressure at a specific location and time of day.
So was this bustle lady one of the first weather girls?
I don't know. It's raining men. Hallelujah. Oh, not those weather girls. I don't know. For example, the line Bismarck, omit, leafage, buck bank contains surprisingly specific details. Bismarck meant it was recorded at Bismarck Station in what is now North Dakota. Omit meant the air temperature was 56 degrees and the barometric pressure was 0.08 inches of mercury.
How does it mean that?
I'm not sure. Leafage referred to a dew point of 32 degrees Fahrenheit observed at 10 p.m.
They must have a decoder ring or something.
Yeah, there's these all mean whole ideas. Buck indicated there was no precipitation, while bank meant a wind velocity of 12 mph and a clear sunset. All weather stations were required to send their reports by telegraph to a central office in Washington, D.C., Chan said. Chan discovered that the encoded messages used a 19th century telegraphic weather code used by the Army Corps, which was the National Weather Service of the U.S. during the late 1800s. For example, a phrase like "the crew are all drunk" could be shortened with a code word such as crimping, he noted.
Yo, we be crimping.
We be crimping, yo. This particular code was not meant for secrecy at all. Telegraphic codes were used for the two main reasons: secrecy and economy, Chan told CNN. The weather code was for the latter because
so it's kind of like CB codes where we'd say, breaker 190
Breaker 190,
and
good
Smokey
buddy,
on
right?
your 6,
exactly.
yeah.
The
Okay.
weather code was for the latter because you were charged by the word in a telegram. They wanted to shorten or compress a weather report into as few words as possible to save on costs.
Well, what you do is you put it all together and smoosh it as one word.
Don't
We
you
had a
think
baby,
they
it's a
would have gotten
boy.
out of that? Anyway.
You ever see that commercial where they're calling each other collect? And they're like, do you accept the charges? And, yes. We had a baby, it's a... No, it's, do you accept the charges? They say no. So you're getting a call from, we had a baby, it's a boy. Click. Do you accept the charges? I mean, that's how... You remember doing this. You're old enough.
Yes, I remember.
Where it would be, you'd have to record your name.
I also remember telegrams.
Oh, now that I don't.
You know, I've actually sent a
I've
few
never-
and received a few.
I've never seen a telegram.
They still do them. Not Western Union.
Nuh-uh.
Western Union's out of the business, but there are companies who've taken it up instead.
Wow.
The difference is, I mean, you don't go to a telegraph office like I did back in the 80s. You actually, you go online, but they still send it as a telegram, yellow paper and all, and somebody will deliver it or even read it for you.
But do they deliver it on a pony? Because if there's no ponies involved, I'm not interested.
There weren't any ponies delivering telegrams back
Sure,
in
there were. There were ponies.
But I don't. In the 1970s and 80s, there weren't. By then, they'd
Who
already.
cares about the 70s and 80s?
Oh my God. Anyway,
You
getting back to.
interrupted my interruption of the interruption of
Well,
your interruption,
well-
and then I didn't get to finish my interruption of your interruption, and I had something to say, and now I don't know what it was.
Good. Chan wrote an academic later. No, anyway, Chan says he's not sure how the words were picked. There was a weather code book that meteorologists consulted to understand the meaning behind unfamiliar words, and with time they learned the code words without the need to consult the code book, he said. The words were arranged so that particular consonant-vowel pairs represented specific numerical values, Chan said. It was really a very complex code, even though the intent was not for secrecy. Chan wrote an academic paper explaining the topic. He also emailed Rivers Cofield, who did not know that online sleuths were still working to decipher the codes. She said she was stunned by the revelation, but not surprised. I'm an archaeologist for a living, so I do a lot of research into the past, she said. I've long since come to terms with the fact that not every artifact on every document is going to reveal all of its secrets. As part of Chan's research, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, I want you to build an ark.
How long can you tread water?
How long can you tread water? Provided old weather maps that helped him determine the precise date of the weather observations in the coded note, May 27th, 1888.
Wow.
Rivers Cofield said one of the biggest takeaways from the discovery has been realizing that people had no immediate way of knowing what weather was coming in the 1880s. It never occurred to me that a telegram would have been what unlocks that for people, because now we're all so used to our weather apps, she said. It's still unclear who Bennett was and why she had weather codes stashed in a secret pocket. But for now, Chan and Rivers Cofield are just glad they've unraveled the biggest piece of the dress's mystery.
That is really, really interesting.
It
I mean,
is.
that is truly... And
Almost as interesting as
such a beautiful
Puffy
dress.
Bustle.
Puffy Bustle.
Yeah, it is a beautiful dress.
Yeah.
I mean, even by itself, that
Well, it's
it's
a
just
two-piecer, right? The top
yeah,
and bottom, yeah.
yeah, it's two
I wonder how
piece.
they got the bustle to stick out like that. I always envisioned balloons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Puffy Bustle.
Yeah. Hit it, Melanie Hope.
All right.
This one's courtesy
It's
of the Sadie.
Waggy Hero Husky Dog saved our block. How does a dog save an entire block, you ask? I'm so glad you asked that question.
I
Oh,
didn't,
what a
but
cute
okay.
puppers. Kobe is getting an extra good boy compliments after saving his neighborhood from a potentially explosive gas leak. The whole neighborhood.
Wow.
The 4-year-old husky recently started digging a large hole in the front yard. Oh, my husky was a digger too. Oh, my. Digging a large hole in the front yard of his Philadelphia home. As the hole grew bigger, Kobe's owner, Chanel Bell, grew more concerned. The dog was trying to tell her something. Yeah, I like digging. We had a dog that practically dug to China. I trust his judgment because that isn't his typical behavior, and he is usually right. Yay, listen to the dog. They never do that on movies. He has great senses, and he never digs holes unless he is helping me dig. Okay. Belle had a gas detection device on hand after discovering a since-repaired gas leak in her home in December, so she decided to test Kobe's freshly dug hole with the device. So his hole is like right by the front fence. Most people would assume he was trying to escape, but there's a cement sidewalk outside, so that wouldn't get him very far. He's a little poor husky. I had a reader already in the house to make sure there were no leaks coming from my old heater, the pet parent explained. When I saw the hole, I realized it was an odd behavior for my dog. My intuition told me to check it. Good intuition lady. The device detected gas was coming from the hole the husky dug, which would smell like rotten eggs, so of course the dog would be going after it. Mm-hmm. So Belle promptly contacted the authorities about the issue. A gas foreman and crew were sent to address the problem and unearth the extent of the dangerous leak. If it wasn't detected and the gas continued to leak into our homes, Belle told the network, we were told it could have caused serious health effects like respiratory issues, brain damage, and even death.
Wow.
They told me that something as simple as a light switch turning on could have caused an explosion too. Yikes. Good doggy. After arriving at Belle's home, the crew turned off the gas and repaired the leak. During the repairs, the crew discovered 3 main gas leaks in Belle's neighborhood. 3 main gas leaks in Belle's neighborhood caused by aging pipes. It took... Where are they?
They're in Philadelphia.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. Well, that's
an
an older neighborhood. It took workers over 3 days to repair the leaks and install the new pipes.
Good doggy.
Throughout the repairs, the crew praised Kobe. Good boy, good doggy. They were so impressed with Kobe and mentioned what a good dog he was, Belle said, adding, it feels amazing to know Kobe saved our block. I am thankful to have him. Good doggy.
Another hero doggy. An Indiana zoo recently welcomed a litter of endangered African painted dogs.
Aww.
Let's see. Only 3 survived thanks to an unlikely surrogate mother. While African painted dogs usually live with a pack of like-minded predators in the wild, the canine that is taking care of them at the zoo is a golden retriever.
Aww.
Potawatomi Zoo announced last week that 8 pups were born at the zoo in September, but their parents, Blue and Maurice, whoop woo, were not caring for the babies, the South Bend Zoo said in a news release. Within 12 hours of the puppy's birth at the the Potawatomi Zoo, the animal care team could tell the
What's the name of that lake that you made up that's in Oregon?
I lived there. It's called Lake Oswego. What are we talking about here?
It's just that sounds like the Potatobi sounds like that lake you made up. Pretty sure it doesn't.
It's on the map, girl. Anyway,
like Gitchigumi and
the animal care team could tell the pack would not be able to successfully raise the puppies, as you said. Blue, an inexperienced mother, was not caring for her pups the way she should have, and Maurice was following her lead. So the zoo's staff, and these painted dogs are very unique looking. They look
like hyenas.
They look like hyenas wearing high heels, only they're small. Anyway,
they look like if like the entire band Kiss cross-pollinated with hyenas. Is
yes,
what they look like.
That's exactly because I was thinking of like Gene Simmons's high-heeled boots.
Yeah, that's exactly what their paws look like. They got the big old ears, though.
Yeah, they do. So the zoo's staff consulted professionals to help develop breeding plans for African painted dogs in the U.S. There are less than 7,000 adult painted dogs in the wild, and they are considered endangered due to human-wildlife conflict, habitat fragmentation, disease, the zoo says. The staff at zoos usually try to remain hands-off so packs can raise pups like they do in the wild. This is usually successful, and pups get to learn the complex social structure of their species, the zoo says. But in this case, the group determined the staff would have to hand-raise the litter with the help of another animal. Instead of a bottle of, why do I have to keep repeating myself? I don't know.
Because it's gajillion o'clock at night.
There is that. Instead of bottle feeding the pups, the group recommended finding a surrogate dog to help nurse them since they are usually raised in a canine social structure. The Indiana Council for Animal Welfare connected the zoo with a golden retriever named Casey.
Aww.
or Cassie, let's call her Cassie, who had recently given birth and was producing milk that she could feed to the painted dog pups too. Cassie came to the zoo with her own puppies and immediately took in the painted dogs as her own.
Her puppies are gigantic.
Yeah. And she's no slouch in the big department either.
Well, she's about average golden size, but those painted doggies are about a third of the size of her pups.
Yeah. While she began to nurse the pups, the first week of their lives was difficult, and the care team worked 24 hours a day, the zoo said. As is common with baby animals, some of the painted dog pups weren't strong enough to survive. Despite the dedicated attention Cassie and the zoo staff gave them, but 3
big litter,
did.
though, yeah.
The zoo said. They aren't named yet, but they are calling the surviving pups blue, red, and orange, the colors used to track them since birth. The zoo is creating a home for the 3 pups next to the adult painted dogs at the zoo. They decided against integrating them with the other painted dogs because the older ones didn't display suitable positive interest in the puppies,
You think it has
so the
anything to do
plan
with
was
being
changed.
caged up?
Not my children, not my children. They plan to reintegrate them with others as when they get older. It has been an emotionally exhausting and challenging journey for the team, but the zoo's mission is to work toward the preservation of wild species, the zoo said. Sometimes the journey is smooth and sometimes it takes extraordinary measures.
I love how they have the golden in a pool. She's
Yeah.
like in a kiddie pool with all the puppers running around.
Yeah.
And she's just thrilled.
Yeah, she's got a very happy golden look on her face. Sometimes the journey is smooth and sometimes it takes extraordinary measures. These 3 healthy, active pups are just the start of this story, and the zoo hopes to share more positive updates of their milestones in the future. Also known as African wild dogs or African painted wolves, this species is native to sub-Saharan Africa and lives in big family groups that are led by a dominant male and female, according to the zoo. They are small, about 29 to 43 inches long, but they can run up to 44 miles per hour, hunt bigger prey like antelope,
Wow.
according to the International Fund for Child Welfare. They work together with their pack to coordinate hunts.
Sweetheart.
Yes?
It was not the International Fund for Child Welfare.
Did I say that? Let me try again. They are small, about
No more
28
mulled wine for you
to
before a
43.
show. You get coffee.
I should have had coffee. That's true.
They threatened us with snow, so I handled it the only way I knew how. Mulled wine!
She's usually the one babbling incoherently, and I'm the one saying, calm down, calm down. I'm the one
Child
babbling.
child welfare.
Okay. But they can run up to 44 miles per hour and hunt bigger prey like antelope, according to International Fund for Animal Welfare. They work together with their pack to coordinate hunts, and they're successful at it, with 60% of their hunts ending in catches.
Wow, I think even
Now at
Uncle
11
Ted
weeks
doesn't
old-
have that much success.
Now, in 11 weeks old, the pups are thriving under Cassie's care. We're looking forward to getting them in their own space where they can learn to be painted dogs from their family, they said.
But they're going to be golden retrievers, which means they're going to be sweet and charming
And not
really
able to
smart.
catch tennis, not able to
And
catch
not able
frisbees.
to catch anything. It'll just bounce off their foreheads. Okay, I have one more story that I have to share because this is too much fun.
Okay.
Then we'll hear what Chuck has to say and go into our pay the bills mode.
You know,
So apparently this couple, a family, ordered Uber Eats from Taco Bell.
yay.
So $45 order, that's pretty substantial, right?
That's a lot
So
of bean burritos.
the driver leaves the food at the door. And the only reason they know what happened is because their doorbell caught it. A hungry bear called first dibs on a Florida family Uber Eats. So it's Florida Bear. Ever thank your dog? Yeah. On Friday, the family ordered food from Taco Bell just minutes after the delivery driver left a $45 order on the front porch of their home in the Orlando suburb. A large black bear swooped in and swiped it, and he just walks in and grabs the bag and walks away like he's the one.
Yeah, hey, more tacos for me.
The fast food heist, of course, was captured on the Ring camera. In the video, the bear saunters up to the door and quickly makes away with the delivery bag in its mouth. It appears the bear was not only hungry but thirsty too, because moments after he nabbed the food, he returns and gets the sodas. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you want to see this video, head on over to Canada.
That's hilarious.
I
love those kinds of videos. It's like,
Yeah.
bears are bad.
And it's not a little bear, it's a big old black bear. Yeah, so it just walks on up, takes their food, and walks on
Bears
away.
in suburbia.
Yeah. All right, folks, let's hear what Chuck has to say. We'll pay some bills, and we'll be right back with This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. And maybe a poetry corner.
Maybe. And now, CCW News presents Holy Crap! This is actually happening! If I Can Make It There edition, January 15th, 2024. I'm Chuck U. Farley. The big news this week was the Iowa caucus, where most Americans voted for Donald Trump and most Democrats voted for Nikki Haley. The FBI tried to use the X platform to celebrate the life of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., where they were immediately ratioed and community noted into oblivion, including one user republishing the FBI letter demanding that he off himself in the name of decency. I swear, I am not making this up. Last week, Dementia Hitler gave yet another hate-filled speech for which he had to be led on and off stage like a lost child by Dr. Caretaker Jill, and wherein he called for the persecution of nearly 60% of the U.S. population. The highlight of his tirade was when he bragged about keeping political prisoners and saving democracy through censorship, election fraud, and eventually martial law. Well, he's got the FBI on his side at least. I swear, I am not making this up either. Senior leaders, Pentagon officials, and President Biden himself admitted they were unaware for days that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in intensive care and completely out of commission. Remember, Austin is sixth in line for the presidency, a line that starts with a hyena, goes through a spendthrift and Prince Valiant's mom in tennis shoes, and, much like Biden himself, ends with Blinken and Yellen. When asked how he could have gone so long without knowing the whereabouts or even health of such a high government official, Biden replied, "Come on, man. How do you expect me to know where everyone else is when I don't even know where I am?" New York City is home to more than 10 major sports arenas and dozens of gigantic concert venues, but this sanctuary city is handling Biden's border invasion policy by housing illegals in the schools and forcing underprivileged U.S. citizen school children back into pandemic-era remote learning. They're even using the district's school bus system to get the border jumpers there. I swear, I am not making this up. New York City is also home to hundreds of millions of rats. In fact, the rat problem had grown so large that the mayor first declared war on rats in 2017. Recently, the meat-eating vegan Mayor Adams announced that they are losing the war as they have seen a near 10% increase despite their extermination and prevention efforts. This is mainly because the rats keep running as Democrats and automatically winning elections. Also in New York, but totally unrelated to the more than 162,000 foreign military-aged men who have flooded the city since spring 2022, Governor Kathy Hochul announced that she's directing an additional $2.5 million to state police in response to an inexplicable rise in hate crimes throughout the state. Golly, if only there were a more economical way to solve this problem. After ignoring a congressional subpoena, Hunter Biden was not held for breaking the law. Instead, he held a press conference on the Senate side of the Hill. This week, Hunter and crew crashed a House Oversight Committee meeting along with a full press corps. A mere 30 minutes into the meeting, Biden and his posse got up and walked out, taking the press and all the attention with him. Ain't total immunity grand? For CCW News, this has been Holy Crap! This is actually happening! I'm Chuck U. Farley. Good night, and may God help us.
In this digital society, making connections is quickly becoming a lost art form. Yet, if you are a small business owner, building your network is the only way you can get ahead. Can these skills be learned? You bet they can. Read Nose to Nose Networking, no-nonsense in-person networking tips from a master. Who's the master? Well, who better to teach networking and friend-building skills than a golden retriever? The author, Melanie Hope, takes the antics of Abigail and translates them into the human experience. Through Abby, you will learn how to set your intention, build a network, and get into and out of conversations with grace. Find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, in hard copy or on Kindle or Nook. Visit counterculturewise.com for direct links. I was living an ideal life with an amazing family, a good job, and lots of friends. I was also a peaceful patriot who loved my country. I woke up every day to be grateful to be an American. But then I realized my life was so good it was almost fictional. I mean, my life made so much sense that it stopped making sense, you know what I mean? Then a friend told me about libtardium.
Introducing libtardium, a treatment for severe rationality and excessive common sense. I'm generally a decent guy, and most people who know me really like me. But one day I realized I lacked passion in my life. Then my wife told me about libtardium, and let me tell you, the passion has returned with a vengeance, hasn't it, honey?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Patriarchal dunderhead.
Libtardium controls the neurons that promote excessive reasoning while stimulating the ones that trigger emotions. One dose of libtardium is as effective as watching 16 hours of cable news.
I'm Senator Wishwash. I was a die-hard conservative until I decided that principles don't win elections. 1 week's treatment of libtardium was enough to smooth my edges, become more relatable to the press and the electorate, and it made me your senator. Libtardium changed my life, and it can change yours.
Excessive exposure to libtardium can cause sweats, dizziness, foaming at the mouth, and severe loss of IQ. Patients have reported inability to control their temper, as well as excessive and loud use of the term "re." Use of libtardium can trigger psychotic reactions to MAGA hats and Candace Owens. Avoid libtardium at family gatherings, ball games, churches, coffee shops, the Lincoln Memorial, Walmart, NRA meetings, car dealerships, French restaurants, tourist buses, shopping malls, social media, movie theaters, gymnasiums, airports, mosques, Christian bakeries, plant nurseries, nursery schools, and nurses' stations. Please consult your doctor if the stupid lasts for more than 24 hours. Use of libtardium is not advised on Chicago streets during polar vortexes. Ask your local Democratic Party office if libtardium is right for you. Do you feel trapped in your body, mind, or spirit? Are you one of countless Americans wanting to identify as someone or something else outside of your current identity? We can help. At Crap It All One Credit, we have helped thousands of people with their identities. We can take your old one and hand it over to hackers, leaving you free to be that unicorn or attack helicopter you've always known you were. Let Crap It All One's lack of security enable you with yours. We want to identify as your credit card of choice. Call us or visit our website today. Crap It All One, a division of Sucker Bank, LLC.
Terms and conditions apply. Extension of credit is not guaranteed, even though we send people thousands and thousands of ads in the mail implying that it is. Applying for credit will affect your credit score. Never mind that may affect stuff that we always print on the applications because it's not true. Just like Jeffrey Epstein hanging himself. Don't expect a high credit line or low APR just because you think you deserve it. We haven't stayed in business for decades by being stupid with our money. That's your thing. This offer extended only to dummies in the United States and its territories. Have a nice day.
Hello, my name is... what do you care? Anyway, my people have had years and years of persecution. We've complained about it ever since Moses brought us out of the wilderness. So what do you all do? You now pay absolutely no attention to us at all anymore. Women's March this, Black Lives that. What are we, chopped liver? It's time we stood up and started complaining again. We have developed the very weapon that will help us reclaim our rightful place of kvetching in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Mazel Tov cocktail. Handcrafted from the finest kosher beer bottles, filled with the tears of our ancestors that burn hotter than the Arab sun, and wicked by our own rendered garments, the Mazel Tov cocktail is guaranteed to splatter and spread millennia's worth of oppressed rage and guilt, so you'll know for certain you are doing God's work. Use the best, forget the rest. The #1 bomb for civil unrest. Made exclusively by the world's oppressed. Mazel tov.
May cause itching, burning, stinging, sores, zits, hives, freckles, cancer, and Karen Collins. Not for use by plebs, noobs, cucks, simps, fascists, do-nothing weaklings, and especially Antifa, because they are all of those things. Most effective at night after curfew. Mazel Tov is not responsible for any breakages, slippage, mishandling, jail time, or insurance claims.
Max, can you come help me with my pillow? It just doesn't feel cuddly enough.
Duty calls, but before I leave, I want to remind our dear listeners and viewers to visit our merch store. You can choose from a wide variety of apparel, accessories, and other goodies. Please keep us afloat. Please help keep Chuck around to report the crazy goings-on in Washington, wherever that is, and elsewhere. I swear, he is not making this up. By contributing today, you will also help keep Mumsy and Father on their anxiety meds. Hey! For these reasons and so many more, I beseech you to visit our merch store at counterculturewise.com.
Welcome to Poetry Corner, where we take rhyme and rhythm and do cool things with them. Now here's the king of the words that swing, Wolf Zygote.
Like, snap some fingers, I hope this lingers. I'm taking my foot right off the brakes. I have no concern for what it takes. The orange man is up and at it again. We must fight so he can't win. I know it makes us all look weak, but we can't let the Donald speak. We'll do what we must internally to stop his senseless hyperbole. Take him off the ballot in every state, whatever it takes to steal his fate. Sue him into the cold, cold ground. Come November, we don't want him around. Pretend to be them and vote for Nikki, 'cause Donald Trump is just plain icky. I won't suggest he be made dead, but if it happens, no tears will shed. Slander and libel him off the air. Seem unfair? I just don't care. We only want what's best for you, so vote for who we tell you to. We will stop this atrocity, 'cause fair elections threaten our democracy. It's been sublime. See you next time.
Now see, that's why we can't have nice things.
Hey, Jim, remember all those recalls of vehicles and foods and things like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's our government looking out for us.
Supposedly, definitely not the companies. In May of 2023, Consumer Affairs reported that millions of Americans, our Kia has been recalled 6 times now?
Yeah.
Millions of Americans are driving potential death traps. Vehicles under recall for life-threatening hazards, but were still unrepaired. Now, luckily, most of I think I took it in for 4.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them were just like notification things or whatever. So nothing like, the brake system or the airbag system.
Nothing absolutely deadly. But when you get that many, even small issues, it makes me question.
At least they're doing their due diligence, and they're not
true.
doing the Ford Pinto thing where they're like, that would be more expensive than just letting people die.
Yeah.
In September, Hyundai recalled 1.6 million vehicles because their anti-lock brake systems were at risk of short-circuiting. Now, see, that's a big one.
That is a big one.
The problem could cause their vehicles to catch fire even when they're turned off. Hyundai has reported at least 21 car fires and 22 thermal incidents.
Of course they're going to call it a thermal incident.
Oh, my God. Thermal incident. Oh, no, we didn't have a fire. We had a thermal incident. Hey, Jim, let's go have a thermal incident in our fireplace tonight. I'm sorry, in our thermal incident place. Good grief. Including visible smoke, burning and melting. And that's just in the U.S. There are photos above submitted by the owner of a 2013 Kia Optima. Shows the car engulfed in flames on a highway in Nebraska in September 2022. Due to fire risk, oh my God, okay, this is terrifying. You are strongly advised to park your vehicles outside and away from safety structures. Go ahead and keep driving them. Just don't park them anywhere near a building until the remedy is completed. Nowhere does it say stop driving these death traps, but just don't park them next to a building. Oh my God. Oh my God. A consumer affairs analysis of National Highways Transportation Safety Administration database reveals millions of recalled cars and trucks remain unrepaired, even though some of the safety problems could be lethal. A prime example is the Takata airbag recall from over a decade ago, the largest automotive recall in history. I remember that one. The defect in the inflator could cause it to explode. When the bag I'm sorry, this is not funny. Could cause it to explode when the bag deploys, spraying occupants with tiny metal shrapnel. So imagine you're in an accident and your airbag just pelts you with shrapnel. I like the Saturday Night Live version where it ends up being a Jiffy Pop. So while you're waiting for the cops to arrive, at least you have a snack. Oh my God. Consumer Affairs counted 159 recalls affecting as many as 11.5 million vehicles that have do not drive or park outside instructions. As opposed to parking inside. As many as 7 million of these vehicles have yet to be repaired.
Is it because people aren't getting the messages, or they just keep putting it off because they got to get to where they need to go?
45% of vehicles with a do not drive warning are unrepaired, while 38% of cars and trucks that carry a park outside advisory due to fire risk are also unrepaired, making them a danger to vehicle owner as well as to nearby structures. It should be noted that just because a recalled vehicle is unrepaired, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's still on the road. Many are older vehicles and owners may have scrapped them by now. But why don't we know that? But it stands to reason that millions of potentially lethal vehicles are still being driven. I own 2 Pintos.
I had a Pinto.
Some owners may be in the dark. Some drivers may not be aware their vehicle has a warning of life-threatening issues. They could be the 3rd or 4th owner, and recall notices never reach them. Safety officials are... Yeah, that is true, because I still get notices from Las Vegas for a vehicle that is registered and everything here in Texas. Owners of recalled vehicles, especially older Hyundai and Kias...
Yeah, I don't think my next car is going to be a Kia.
Should use the NHTSA recall database to find out if their vehicle has an open recall. Simply insert the 17-digit vehicle identification number, otherwise known as the VIN. Do not call it the VIN number, or I will lose my hair. Head. You've lost your hair. Anyway, the database will not only tell you about any open recalls, it will also indicate whether the recalls carry a, quote, do not drive or, quote, park outside warning. That's terrifying in its own might. Wow. Wowee, wow. Okay, well, folks, head on over to the NHTSA recall database. So we will have the links on our website. Check your car, make sure that it doesn't explode, catch on fire, and kill people.
And this is even if you have one of those brands that isn't Hyundai or Kia, just
check them all.
Just check them all. Just take the extra step.
Just be safe.
All right, another reason to avoid Facebook. Hooray. Here we go. A man has filed a lawsuit over negative posts shared about dating him in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. I could just leave that like that. But anyway, Nico Nico D'Ambrosio filed a lawsuit on 11 January. It's my birthday over there. In the district court for the Northern District of Illinois, claimed in the lawsuit that he has been the subject of defamation, doxing, and privacy invasion, and that the statements in the Facebook group have affected his reputation according to the court documents obtained by Today. I guess that's NBC Today, I guess. Okay. Anyway, D'Ambrosio is suing 27 women, one man, Meta, and other social media companies for over $75,000 in damages. The popular, of course it is, Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group allows members to check whether the person they're interested in is already dating somebody else. As the Facebook group has grown and spawned local chapters from New York City to Chicago, some women have used the group to ask for what are essentially user reviewers of the men they are considering dating, often alongside a screen grab of a dating app profile. The Chicago subgroup, which has more than 80,000 members, describes itself as a place for women to protect, support, and empower other women, and not judging men. In the complaint, D'Ambrosio alleged that the defendants had posted provably false and defamatory statements about their dating experiences with him. He claimed that posts in the group led to personal humiliation, mental anguish and suffering, emotional distress, stress, anxiety, and unspecified lost earnings. I'm going to interrupt here. If anybody gets Cosby'd like that on Facebook, and yes, I just turned Cosby into a verb, there's something wrong with the guy, okay? It's not, I'm sorry, it's just there's too...
When you say they get Cosby'd, I was thinking the other way around. So what you're saying, you've got all these girls talking about him. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it used to mean the opposite, but, whatever. Yeah. According to the lawsuit, D'Ambrosio claimed that one woman allegedly posted a photo of him in the group. The complaint included screenshots of multiple Facebook users inquiring if there was any T or red flags they should know about Nico.32.
So T is a way of saying stuff from your past or dishy, exciting stuff.
That makes sense. I didn't know that until now. He stated that several women in the comments, but I'm married and I'm not on some dating app on Facebook. So there's that. He stated that several women in the and all of my exes, and they
don't live in Texas.
And they don't live in Texas, and
I'm not an ex.
They made the same complaints about me that you have. So man-child. What's wrong with that? Anyway, with one accusing him of ghosting her.
Slappity.
He stated that several women in the comments referred to him as a psycho and very clingy, with one accusing him of ghosting her after they slept together.
Yeek.
He's a guy.
That's not clingy. That's the opposite of clingy.
That's a guy thing.
That's literally the opposite of clingy.
He reportedly contacted defendants around 15 December 2023 to ask that statements made about him be removed from the group. The post was removed and then uploaded again anonymously. The Chicago man also alleged that thousands of men have been potentially defamed and that statements made by the Facebook group anonymously dox, defame, and attack the moral character of the men they've met online.
How do you anonymously dox someone? It's an oxymoron.
Well, I mean, you can dox people without revealing who you are.
Oh, okay. So they're not saying they're okay. I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Remain entirely unaware of the attacks on their character as a result of the social media group's private status and heavily moderated members list, the suit stated. D'Ambro is seeking compensatory damages, punitive damages, and compensation. Yeah, one of those. Compensatory damages, punitive damages, and compensation for his attorney's fees.
But does he get malicious mischief?
No, because there was no damage done to property. In a statement to CBS, his attorneys denied that D'Ambrosio sent the messages to the women named in the suit. We've been working on this for several months. We tried everything but sue these people. We tried sending them registered letters, sending them cease and desist letters to no avail, said attorney Michael Nikolic. Ultimately, we had to go take this recourse because our hand was forced, and it wouldn't take down these posts. Our client's a victim. He's a victim on this matter, said attorney Mark Trent. We want to stop them from being additional... Let me try that again. This is what happens when I don't have my glasses on.
It's really bad. We want to stop there from being additional victim. No, it's badly written.
Okay. So
I'm
not just
defending
me.
you, my sweet.
Thank you for
it is not
defending me,
your
Leslie.
glasses.
My gorge.
It is the
My gorgeous.
bad writing of the Independent. Ooh, I called them out by name.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, people see the links to our articles on our website, and
Well, you're not going to believe this, but we are rounding the hour and a half mark, and you wanted to talk about this Wonderfuller, so let me grab the sounder for that, and we'll just wrap this puppy up and let you go to bed so you can get to work in the morning.
sounds like a plan, man.
Since you're already halfway asleep.
Yes.
Here on Counterculture Wise, we may rant, we may rave, but most of all, we go against the current culture because we believe, to the core of our beings, that humans are good and the world is an amazing and beautiful place. At the beginning of our show, we give you news of the weird and wonderful, but that is just the tip of the magnificent iceberg that is our world. We now present news of the Wonderfuller. This is actually a really heartwarming story given that, well, we're unable to recruit white men into the military anymore because they basically told them they don't want them. So we've got everything from drag queens to, trans and everything in between. And you have to be every shape, size, and color except white and male. And women aren't allowed to win their own competitions anymore. So this is actually a good story for once. An inspiring journey that reaches for the stars. Second Lieutenant Madison Marsh has achieved a remarkable feat by being crowned Miss America 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an actual woman.
Biological female, yes.
Born with and still having a hoo-hoo. Her story begins 4 years ago when she entered the Air Force Academy with a cadet's spirit armed with a pilot's license and the ambitious dream of becoming an astronaut. Wow, she had a pilot's license at that young?
That young in age, yeah. She
Wow.
knew what she wanted.
She was absolutely gorgeous, though.
Yeah, she is very pretty.
Currently pursuing graduate studies in public policy at the prestigious Harvard Kennedy School through a special Air Force partnership program, Marsh has demonstrated her commitment to excellence both in academia and the military. A trailblazer in her own right, Marsh, after being named Miss Colorado in May, has etched her name in history. I'm surprised they didn't take her off the ballot. Has etched her name in history as the first active duty officer to compete for the Miss America crown. Wow. Really? The first active duty
First one,
officer. Wow. The Air Force Academy proudly acknowledges her as a symbol of dedication, resilience, and the pursuit of diverse dreams. You don't need the diverse nonsense in there. The culmination of her journey reached its pinnacle as she was crowned Miss America, making her the first active duty Air Force officer to receive this prestigious title. But did she have a fluffy bustle? Marsh said she hopes her journey can tell the young girls that you don't have to play a conventional role. The sky is not the limit. It's not the limit for me because I fly planes up there. People go to space up there. Women go up there. And so women can do it all.
Sisters are doing it for themselves.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, she is. She's quite
also
beautiful.
Very but the thing is, she's not like just, if I saw a photo of her, I think she's the most beautiful woman in the world. She's got that kind of sage, kind of confidence look that makes her more attractive looking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will tell you one thing. Even if you need to compensate in the looks department, confidence is king or queen. It really, you when you met me, before you knew that I was a bumbling fool, you saw me as a very confident.
You were so smooth. I don't know what happened to that guy, but you were so smooth.
I can still be that guy. It was one of those things in life where I saw you, I thought, and I still think, absolutely beautiful, and I wanted you. It was like just a short conversation with you, and I knew that we would get along pretty well. I mean, I had no idea I'd marry you, but, you know.
And be stuck with me and drag you to different states across the country.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But anyway.
It's been an adventure, Jim.
Still is. It's going to continue to be.
All right. Well, folks, we're not going to go the full 2 hours on the show simply because I've got to upload this puppy. And without internet, it's not so easy. But please continue to tune in. Things are only going to get better from here. And do continue to watch our YouTube channels, as Chuck, of course, will be animated and uploaded. And there might be some more counterculture cats coming out. So check out.
We may have some future interviews with Max in the future.
He's got some ideas.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for tuning in this evening. We will be up and live very soon, God willing, and the creek don't rise. May you have an amazing week. God bless you. God bless your family. And we'll see you next week.
Counterculture-wise is a Stormcat production.
Thank you for joining our growing family of listeners. All links from the show are available on our website, counterculturewise.com. Find our archives on any of your favorite podcast hosts.
We engage in satire, commentary, and generally laugh at the ridiculousness of our crumbling society. Our only medical or financial advice is to not follow any financial or medical advice given by podcasters.
Our animations, interviews, Holy Crap segment, and other videos are put out on BitChute and Rumble, and only in part on YouTube because they hate free speech.
Our show is entirely funded by listeners like you. Visit our ever-expanding merch store or our Subscribe Star, where you can get outtakes, extra videos, and sneak peeks.
If you would like to be a guest on our program, feel free to contact us via our website. Just click on the link at the top that says, Be a Guest on Our Show.
For more fun and cat pics, please visit our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For complaints about our show, please fill out the ID10T form on our website, and we will give it the attention it deserves.
Meanwhile, no matter how cruel the world may be around you, always remember the importance of kindness. Be kind to each other, be kind to animals, and be kind to yourself. See you next week.